Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Today, we're going to discuss a very interesting case in international maritime law, namely the MTI Horse and MTI Fry case.
Yeah, this case became quite famous because it involved two foreign oil tankers conducting a ship-to-ship uh, or STS transfer in Indonesian waters.
Exactly. And the big legal question is, did Indonesia actually have the jurisdiction to stop and detain those ships? That's what we will be talking today.
So let's begin. First thing, let's look at what happened in our world. Back in January 2021, the Indonesian Coast Guard, or Baklama, detained two tankers. The first one, the MT Horse, which was Iranian flag, and MT Freya, which was flying the Panamanian flag.
Right. Authorities suspected that both vessels were transferring crude oil from one ship to another without proper authorizations while they were in Indonesian waters.
It wasn't just the transfer itself. Investigators also found that both ships had turned off their automatic identification system or AIS.
So, for anyone who doesn't know, AIS is basically a tracking system that allows ships to be monitored or to be monitored for navigation safety.
Exactly. Turning it off makes it much harder for authorities to know where a ship is or what it is doing. That's why it's considered suspicious, especially when combined with an oil transfer.
They were also concerned about possible oil pollution, which made the situation even more serious.
So, second one, we're gonna talk about the legal framework. Now, let's move on to the legal aspect. Which laws is actually applies here?
The most important one is UNCLOS 1982, or the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. It's basically the main international treaty governing maritime law.
Indonesia ratified UNCLOS through Law Number 17 of 1985, meaning its provisions are legally recognized in Indonesia.
I see. Oh, besides UNCLOS, Indonesia also has some national regulations like the shipping law, the maritime affairs law, and also an environmental protection laws.
These laws give Indonesia the authority to regulate activities taking place within its maritime jurisdictions, especially if those activities threaten security or the marine environment.
So here's the main issue. Did Indonesia actually have jurisdiction?
Um, for me, I think the answer is yes.
Because the alleged violations happened within Indonesian maritime jurisdiction. Indonesia had the legal authority to inspect, investigate, and temporarily detain the vessels.
And also remember, international law doesn't just protect freedom of navigation, it also recognizes the right of coastal states to enforce their law to certain maritime zones.
Of course, and I agree. But especially when there's a possibility of environmental damage or illegal activities.
Exactly. So Indonesia wasn't violating international law by taking actions. Instead, it was exercising rights that are recognized by under UNCLOS.
I think what's interesting is that this case wasn't just about two ships.
Yeah, of course. It also raised concern about illegal oil trading and possible attempts to avoid international sanctions.
And because the ships switched off their AIS, authorities suspected they were trying to avoid being detected.
Cases like this show how maritime security, environmental protection, and international law are all connected.
Now, even though Indonesia had jurisdictions, Enforcing maritime law isn't always be easy.
Exactly. Indonesia has one of the largest maritime areas in the world. Monitoring every ship is a huge challenge.
So that's why cooperation between institutions like Bakamla, the Indonesian Navy, and other government agencies is really important.
That's true. International cooperation also matters because these cases often involve foreign ships and cross border legal issues.
So, to sum up, Indonesia had a strong legal basis to take actions against anti-horse and anti-Freya.
Both international law, especially UNCLOS, and Indonesian domestic law support Indonesian jurisdiction in this case.
And ultimately, this case reminds us that maritime law isn't only about protecting sovereignty, but also about ensuring navigation safety, preventing legal activities, and protecting the maritime environment.
So that's all from us.
Thank you for watching.
And see you in the next discussion.
Bye.
Bye bye.